Thanks for watching Boss Survival. Today we're going to build a raised bed. However, we have to first find a safe area to be able to start this up. And there's a lot of dead wood around, so we're just going to search, see what we can find. Okay. Looks like it's flat enough. What do we got above us? Not horrifying. There's no blatant, huge dead hangers. So this spot would be much safer than that last spot. This spot looks inviting, but the problem with this is that if it rained, you might end up having a lot of water coming down over near your raised bed. So while this is more inviting, I found a spot over there that I'm going to show you. It's a smaller rock, but it's flatter, and it wouldn't give me any problems with flooding. The rocks are much smaller, but we have some flat land, and if it rained, it wouldn't give me too much of a problem here. I think that this is where I'm going to get my raised bed going. Raised beds are especially important in the winter time. You've heard me talk about it many times, how you have to keep yourself up off the ground. Now the ground is going to suck up more heat from your body than the actual air around you. So in the winter time, it's especially important to get a raised bed going on. You have to consider the time because the sun goes down around 4:30. Also, I have a saw and a hatchet. I have no rope. So I'm going to try to build this the most effective and simple way that I can. So I'm up off the ground, and then in the future we'll have a fire, use this rock to reflect the heat, build a shelter in the next episode. So I'm gonna burn a bunch of calories right now and cut this thing up. One down. It's good exercise. Cut that enough. All right. Oh no. You may not be able to see it with the camera, but it actually droops down over here. So I'm going to put a couple pieces under so that way it's level. As long as it's straight enough, doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It's got to be strong enough. This piece isn't the best, but what's important, as long as I can carve a piece and set it in, these look pretty level. The saw can help you get better measurements in. With rope, it would obviously be way easier. But without rope, you got to kind of cut these notches so that way they can be more sturdy and you can place them in. So this actually may be the most time-consuming part. Got this notch cut. I'm actually going to take this little piece out. It's too big. I'll put something else under there to make the middle part sturdy. But bam, the second that I took that off, these fit in nice. A knife is so important to have in the wilderness. Every once in a while, the saw and the hatchet can definitely rival it as far as the uses. In this case, I definitely would rather have a hatchet and a saw over a knife if I was going to build a raised bed. Always make sure you're in a safe position before you use your hatchet. Keep all your important limbs far away from where the axe could end up. Okay. Number 3 done. Whew. This definitely takes a lot of energy. That's why it's so important to try to make it as simple and effective as possible, because you're going to get so tired so fast. And then what if you actually have to build a shelter next and the sun's going down? You'll be bumming. Things always take longer in the wilderness than you think. That's good enough. I didn't do a great job on the notches and I kind of miscalculated right here, but this is sturdy enough. I'll just mess around with this a little more to make sure that it goes in here. Nice. So you put the stakes in and crisscross them like this, and that way this is much more sturdy and it won't roll. Do that to the other side. Very nice. All right. Nice. These are nice and sturdy. Now I find a whole bunch of pieces like this, cut them up, and start laying them across. Here's the thing. I started this process, but I would probably get annoyed at myself if I realized after I put everything on that you want to take a bunch of debris and you want to fill in the space in here. It'll keep you much warmer. If you don't, the air can creep up under you, make you feel cold. Luckily, I saved all of the stuff from cleaning the site and just kept it close to me. Fill in the gap here. Now, I was going to add in a third piece under here, but this is definitely strong enough, and I do not weigh 400 pounds, so this will be good to go. Now that we have the debris in, we can lay these across. Even though I already collected a whole bunch, I know that I'm going to need a lot more. This is why it's always so good to have some rope with you. This wouldn't take as much time to build a raised bed if you had a little bit of rope. But if you don't, it takes a little bit more work. It takes a while to gather all these straight sticks. You need them to be straight enough. And then you see this straggler? That wouldn't feel good if you laid down on it. Here's a little tiny thing that can be overlooked. These little stragglers here. If you don't notice them and you go lay down, man, you don't want that thing to poke you in the butt or anything. So make sure these guys are smooth. You can be in such a hurry that you don't notice these little guys. A few more pieces and all we have to do is put a bunch of pine boughs on this. Look at that. Couple more. Running out of time. Let's test the strength of this out before we lay some pine boughs on it. With more time, I'd actually add more logs because I'm kind of tall. So I miscalculated just a little bit with the height. However, I'm up off the ground and I'm going to grab a bunch of pine boughs and put them on here. This is kind of nice. Look at the stars and the nighttime and everything. If you have more time, you can kind of just break off the little small guys so that way it's more comfortable and you don't have branches. But it's getting dark. So I'm going to try to quickly make this a little comfortable. I'm going to shake these off even though it's the dead of winter and I'm going to check myself for ticks. They are an inevitable pain in the bum in the Northeast. I don't care how cold it is. I don't care that it's the dead of winter. I'm always careful of ticks. Just give it a little bit of a shake, not like it's going to make much of a difference. And I'm always going to thoroughly check myself no matter what after I go into the woods, even if it's 0 degrees, because I don't trust those awful monsters. There's a lot of downed trees if you look, so you can actually find recently downed trees with some pine boughs. I did take a few live ones and I apologize. Please don't call me a monster or nothing. I love the environment. You just have to take a little so that way you can kind of show and teach people how to do this, so that way in case you're ever in a situation you have a little bit of knowledge and can kind of know what to do, so that way you don't freeze to death. That is actually comfortable. I'm not exaggerating. This is comfortable. If you find yourself pieces that are straight enough, get yourself up off the ground, get yourself some of these pine boughs, this is feeling pretty good. But without a fire, I'd probably die if I just stayed here and the sun went down. You know, this would help a little bit, but really, let's get a fire going, folks. Always put your ferro rod away. This thing is doing its job. I'm up off the ground. It's pretty comfortable. I'm in between the fire and the rock, so it's only a matter of time before I start to feel the heat of that rock radiating back. So definitely a great spot to be able to do this bed. It ended up working out pretty okay, so I look forward to the next episode where I'm actually going to come back here and I'm going to work on building a shelter around this, some type of lean-to. We'll see, we'll improvise, but I'm going to go now, enjoy the fire for a little bit. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.